What's going on, budget fam? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the sports card market crash. There's no way around it, man. There's no denying it at this point. We've hit the wall. We've hit the wall. We are experiencing a sports card market crash. Prices are down across the board, whether it be singles, PSA cards, raw cards, flipping retail, flipping hobby boxes. Everything is generally down for every sport, and there's no getting around it. There's no denying it. It was the writing was kind of on the wall, and kind of saw it coming, but it is here now for real. So that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about today. Like I said before, switching up the content, not doing as much ripping packs, and just kind of giving you guys a fresh look on the channel. So before we get into it, if you guys don't mind, just really quickly, just hit the like button on this video and subscribing to the channel. I would really appreciate that. Trying to keep things going around here, even with the market crashing. I still think this hobby is awesome. It's a lot of fun. So, you know, I'm going to keep on keeping on, and we can talk about things here on the channel. So I'm going to talk about 6 factors that I think factored into the sports card market crash, and kind of led us to where we are. So pretty much, how the hell did we get here? So let's get into that. So first thing is the pandemic. And I think the pandemic played a huge part in getting us to where we were with the sports card market boom. There was a bunch of people with just a bunch of extra time, man. A lot of people with a lot of extra cash. People were getting stimulus checks. People were just not spending as much money on travel or vacations. People had extra money to spend, and they were putting it into sports cards, because at the time it seemed like a solid investment. And it, you know, there was a lot of nostalgia going on. A lot of people were stuck at home, kind of bored, not knowing what to do, picking up old hobbies. Sports card market just kind of, you know, it all kind of happened in a perfect storm, and things really just blew up. But I think the pandemic played a huge part in that. And as we're starting to come out of the pandemic, I mean, you know, we won't get into that. But, you know, I just think there's not as many people with just the extra time on their hand. People are going back to work. People don't have as much extra cash. The stimulus checks have dried up. People are starting to, you know, go out and you know, go on vacations and go on trips. A lot of it too is like the price of everyday things are just out of control, so there's not as much expendable income. I don't know if you guys have tried to buy a car recently, or if you've been to the grocery store recently, you know, like I mean, it's tough, man. The prices of everything are crazy, so there's not as much extra money just kind of being thrown around in the hobby. And that's really brought things down. I mean, there was a time where people were just paying, like, I was like, "Dog, what are you doing?" People were paying crazy amounts of money for things that just, I didn't see the value in it. Didn't make sense at the time, and that's all kind of come crashing down now. So that's definitely been a huge factor. Also, I think another factor too has been the delays on sports cards. I think a lot of what drives the hobby are the hype around individual players, and players making big plays, having big games, rookies kind of showing out and doing their thing. And the delays have really killed that, man. Like, you look at an example as like Mac Jones this year, who's had a really good year and had some big games, and there's a lot of hype around Mac Jones, but there really is only Donruss paper rookie cards at this point that are really out there circulating, because of the delays. Like, Prism should have been out towards the beginning of the season. Like, people should have been able to buy Mac Jones Prism rookie cards, and every time he has a good game, that would fuel the market. And optic rookie cards and those type of things can help fuel the market. And when you know, Trey Lance comes out and has a good game or gets a start, like, those kind of things are, I think, play a big factor in the hobby. And the delays have really killed a lot of the hype. It's been a buzzkill, man. I know with this year's NBA rookies, It's halfway through the season and we still haven't seen this year's rookie class with NBA jerseys on it. It's a buzzkill, man. It really is, and it takes away from the hobby, man. People lose interest when you're opening brand new products from last year's rookie class, and they just keep regurgitating the same guys. Like, I love LaMelo Ball. I think he's a great player, but at this point I'm like, all right, cool, another LaMelo Ball card. Love to pull a Jalen Green card or Jonathan Kuminga or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I think the Lays have really stunted the hobby, and I think Panini and Topps has been pretty good, but I think Panini for sure has really shot themselves in the foot in a lot of situations, both with football and basketball this year. So I think that's played a factor. I really do. Obviously, a big one is price gouging. Definitely saw this one coming. The writing was on the wall for this, and everyone is kind of responsible for this. Panini, Topps, Target, Walmart, PSA. They saw that the market was booming, and they just decided, let's just raise prices. Let's raise prices, and people will still pay it. And for a time, people were just paying whatever because it was hot and they could make more money. But I think usually in those types of situations, man, that never ends well. Price gouging usually ends up killing any kind of hype that is out there, and that's exactly what it did. And like, I think Target and Walmart are really seeing the effects of that now. If you go to any Target or any Walmart, you're gonna look at the shelves, and there's gonna be a bunch of stuff sitting on the shelves, usually like baseball cards, Panini baseball cards that are just overpriced, man. They just are. There's no reason for them to raise the price on an Optic mega box. Like, nothing changed, and people don't want it. And if you make the prices competitive, maybe people will buy it. But if you raise the prices just because you can, people are going to move away from it. And I think a lot of these companies shot themselves in the foot. PSA as well. I think a lot of people aren't submitting to PSA now for the simple reason of it's just too expensive, and that we'll see what the long-term impacts of that are. Panini and Topps are not innocent in this either. They've raised their prices on hobby boxes like crazy. If you look at the prices from like 3 years ago for just a basic hobby box of whatever, the prices have gone up substantially, and nothing's changed. Like, they haven't improved the product. If anything, it's gotten worse, and they feel justified to just 2x, 3x the prices, and people see that, and that affects how people react to it, and that, eventually all those things factor into people just aren't buying this stuff anymore. So that's a huge factor. Price gouging has been really bad. Another one is just the influencers. I think this is obviously the new age hobby issue that I think a lot of people did not see coming, but really had a huge impact on the hobby, and that's influencers really fueling the hobby and then stepping away from the hobby and getting real quiet about the hobby all of a sudden. You can call it pump and dump, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but there's definitely been a huge downtick in the amount of people willing to come out and hype up the hobby and say how great it is and how amazing it is, and talk about how you have to get into it. A year ago, there was a bunch of people, bunch of experts saying that you have to invest in sports cards. You got to get into it. It's a sure thing. Buy PSA 10, everything, because you're gonna 2x, 3x your money. It's an awesome long-term investment, and those people are nowhere to be found now. And it's interesting. People called themselves legit collectors, and now they're kind of faded away, or they're into NFTs or whatever it is now. They're on to the next thing. So there was a lot of, for sure, pumping and dumping. It happens. It's a real thing, and this was the first time we kind of really saw it impact the hobby on a major level. And those types of people now stepping away, the people that they were influencing are also kind of lost attention, and they're stepping away as well. And that takes a big chunk of money away from the hobby, and leads to a crash, man. It just does. Another one is obviously overprinting. It's been a problem with the hobby forever, and it seems like it's really bad. I think with the the social media kind of entering the game and people sharing a lot of stuff, it's really opened people's eyes to how much product there actually is out there. Before, back in the day, you didn't really know how much product there was in the Midwest or on the East Coast if you're on the West Coast. But now we're able to see it, and like, if you look at, you go on YouTube and you watch videos of Walmarts. There's Walmarts all over the country, loaded with sports cards, dude, just absolutely loaded with sports cards, and it just kind of gives you an idea of the scale of just how much stuff is out there. If you go onto YouTube and you type in, sports card breakers, and you look at how many breakers there are, you start to figure like, damn, how many hobby boxes are out there? How many guys are out there breaking hobby boxes? And it's not even the half of it. There's still a ton more. So that's really kind of opened people's eyes to how much product is out there. There's a ton, man, and PSA grading and being able to track that and see how many Luka Doncic rookies there are now has really kind of turned people off from that. And overprinting is a real thing. It's always been a problem, but I think it's definitely ramped up. And Panini and Topps, I don't think they really care, to be honest. And I think the last one is, and this one's going to be a little bit controversial. I've said this before, and people get pissed off, but I think it's true. I think we all kind of played a little bit of a part in it. I mean, unless you're just a pure collector, you've never sold anything or anything like that. I think we all kind of played our part in watching this thing kind of go down. I think, for me, an example would be like, I pulled a Justin Herbert Prism silver rookie and sold it the same day for $900. Like, come on, bro. I just sold a piece of cardboard for $900. Like, at some point you gotta like really take a look at it and be like, is this really sustainable? Like, it really wasn't. We all kind of struck while the iron was hot, and and rode this thing out. And not trying to like piss anybody off, but I think we all deep down kind of saw this coming. We all just played our part in it. We had fun, but I think it's the crash isn't necessarily a bad thing. It is a bad thing if you invested a ton of money at the peak and you're thinking you were going to flip within the next year or two. Not going to happen. But if you're just someone who's collecting and wants to hold stuff long term and wants to be able to get hobby boxes at a reasonable price and retail at a reasonable price and buy singles at a reasonable price, this is not a bad thing. It really isn't. But yeah, that's my take on the sports card market crash and how we got there. I'm sure some of you have some different opinions, and I'm sure you will share it in the comment section below. I don't mind. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. I promise you won't. Share all you want. I welcome it. I invite it. Appreciate you guys watching. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.